I'm an entrepreneur with a disability as opposed to a disabled entrepreneur. So I run several companies. So I've got a digital marketing agency that I set up in 2000. That's based in Leicester. I've got a web hosting company which is based in Bournemouth. That was set up in 2004. I've got other bits and pieces that I do. Recently semi-retired, and so 2 years ago I set up a social enterprise, which is called Access Rating. So we created one of the first disabled access apps in the country that allows disabled people to submit disabled access reviews. And recently I've just set up my own foundation, which is called the Circle Foundation.
Right, okay. And when did you decide on your chosen career path in business? And what were the main barriers you faced as someone with a disability?
Well, I initially at the age of 5 I had polio, which left me paralysed from the neck down. Partially recovered, as you can see. But about 20 years later, I started to suffer from the latest effects of polio, which causes chronic fatigue. So as a result, I wasn't fired from my job, but I felt it. I felt an obligation not to be a burden on my employer, so I left my job and essentially was looking for something to do. The internet has always been one of my hobbies. So that's how I set up my first company. But I've got to say, my first company failed, so I lost all my money. So I lost all my money. So not only was I like unemployable, but also lost all my money as well. But then my second company, that I got into digital marketing, mainly SEO, before anyone else. So I was one of the first companies in the Midlands. And within a year, I was working for the Co-op, Guardian, Avril, Amstrad, some of the big corporations.
So was that a big factor in you deciding to start your own business then, feeling like a burden to an employer?
No, not really. It's because I just didn't want, and I needed the flexibility that being my own boss would give me. So, like, for instance, I can do a 60-hour week, but if you ask me to do 9 to 5, I can't. But I need to work my own hours.
And was there ever a point where you felt the struggle, and did you feel like the setbacks made you more determined to succeed, or did you feel like giving up, or have you always been a strong survivor? Because you mentioned polio and the 10% survival rate. Okay.
I think again, I was brought up quite determined. So I would always say that is one of my key strengths, and I'm lucky in that respect, is that I always look for options. I'm a natural problem solver. So whatever obstacles come my way, I always find ways to circumvent that and have a positive attitude, as you would say.
So is your disability something that you've embraced and you've just made the best of it and everything like that?
I think we've all got our own strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes you need to take a weakness and turn it into a strength. So the fact that I'm used to sitting for many hours and not being that mobile at times just means that I can sit in front of a computer and for hours on end, if I need to. And I always say that some of those obstacles I faced in my life, those challenges, have made me stronger and actually made me a better person, and actually helped me build my character as well.
And how did you find people in business reacted to you as a person with a disability?
Oh, okay. Not great. I think the issue that we've got, and this is the reason why I've created a foundation, is that credibility gap. Is because, at the moment there's a lot of talk about diversity inclusion, but it's all about race, about religion, about LGBTQ issues. Very little about disability, but disabled people are actually the biggest minority, actually, when you think about it. So I think the issue is that there's a massive credibility gap when it comes for disabled people actually running their business. People's perceptions, sometimes people see, because that person's got a business, their business might be disabled or might be flawed at the same time. So it's a big problem for disabled people at the moment.
So do you think it's a missed opportunity then? People are overlooking disabled people and they're missing out?
I think in the workplace that there is, because there's this high employment rate among disabled people, and disabled people actually seen that I see it as an untapped resource. But I think now that obviously with COVID, one of the key advantages is that obviously a lot more employers are now are now adopting remote working and hybrid working. So it's allowing more people to actually get into the workforce.
So you set up the Circle Foundation.
Yeah.
And that's why you set it up as a
Mhm.
reaction to that. Could you tell us a bit more about when you decided, when you actually got that idea?
Well, it's about 6 months ago. So I set up Access Rating, which is a social enterprise with a chap called Richard Copson. And then 6 months ago, I just saw how Richard had developed as a person in terms of his mental health, his skill set, and his positive outlook. And even he admits as well, like 2 years ago, he was quite depressed and wasn't a very happy person. But that's all changed. So I then thought to myself that if I could do this, with Richard, if I can get the resources together, I can do this with other people. So that's why I set up the Circle Foundation, which is quite unique, and actually no one else is doing that at the moment.
So is this kind of like your legacy then, kind of thing, giving back to, giving people the help that you didn't get?
Absolutely. It's I didn't get any support. There's some stats out that only 15% of disabled entrepreneurs have got a support network. What we're doing is, as I said, it's quite unique. We're giving cash. We're also giving business support, but most importantly, time. So that's the reason why I'm only looking to work with one person for this year. Possibly next year, it might be 2 or 3 people, because I'm going to be devoting a lot of time into that person to help them grow their business.
Right. And how will you choose this person?
Well, we're partnering with quite a few charities. We've got a social media campaign that we're going to be starting next week. And so we've got a whole application process. As I said, I've just got back from DMU, so I'm talking to people at DMU, in terms of, so we're going to have a panel as well that's going to help us filter through all the applications that are going to be coming through.
Right. Could there be people with autism and things like that as well? Invisible disabilities?
That's a good question. What we will consider all disabilities. But at the same time, we need to make sure that whoever we give the money to, because at the end of the day, this is my personal money that I'm putting into this, and time as well, and also all the other companies that are devoting a lot of resources into this. It needs to be a person that we think has got a realistic chance of making the business a success.
And what would you say to other people who may be doubting themselves and their dreams because of their disability?
I say go and read my book. It's called I Can, I Will.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's a positive book that will inspire them. That's all they need to.
Well, what I would actually say is that again is the only failure in life is not trying. At least if they try and they fail, at least they've learned a lesson. And I always refer back to my first business I set up, whereby I set up a business, I lost all my money, but I learnt, and that's how I learnt about digital marketing, because I was finding ways to market it. So in the end, it turned out to be a blessing that the business failed, because then I moved on to greater things.
And how do you feel about your own success? Do you see yourself as a role model? Or?
Yes, I'd say so. It depends on how you define role model, but I see, I like to see myself as actually someone that people can actually say, okay, if he's done it, I can do it as well, despite all the challenges as a black and disabled person. So I've got 2 disadvantages against me. So if I can do it and also set up my business without any money either, I think most people with the right mindset and the right attitude and support can actually do it as well.
So are you quite proud of yourself then when you think back to,
I think my proudest moment is when I got a letter from the Queen actually awarding me an MBE, for services to business. So obviously I won lots of business awards. So obviously very proud moments. But I think the proudest moment for me would have been obviously getting the MBE. So that basically, yeah, I don't think it gets any better than that, does it?
No.
Exactly.
I mean, this charity, that must be a highlight as well for you.
Well, it is. As I said, we are obviously, as I said, we're launching next week. We're launching on the 14th of February. We are looking for companies, if, professionals, if they've got time, accountancy experts, HR experts, so anyone, copywriters, digital marketers, who are actually willing to be part of our circle of support to help future disabled entrepreneurs, please contact me.
Yeah. And you're really excited about it, obviously.
Oh,
being the first
absolutely.
of its kind.
Well, it's it's something that it's almost like a dream of mine. It's something I've always wanted to do, but I didn't know how I was going to achieve it, how I was going to do it. I thought I'll probably be doing this a bit later in life, but I managed to achieve that a lot quicker than I thought I would.
So how old are you now? Would you mind me
I'm not
asking?
saying.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.